The Dragonback series by Timothy Zahn. Book 5. Dragon and Judge. Chapter 25.
They had Allison to the car before she could untangle her tongue. Wait, she said, the word coming out more like a croak. Wait, you can't.
Goodbye, deserter,
Frost said. Turning with military precision, he disappeared back into the house.
Just relax,
Dumbarton advised as Mershpaw picked her up and deposited her into one of the car's rear seats.
If you struggle, he'll just make it hurt more.
He turned his back and started to climb into the driver's seat. And in that instant, Taneem struck. She exploded out the back of Allison's shirt collar straight into Mershpaw's face, slapping her forepaw against the Brumga's head with enough force to slam him bodily into the car's rear fender. The reaction from the blow sent Taneem herself flying in the opposite direction, dropping her nearly 3 yards away. She hit the ground and spun around, leaping at Dumbarton just as he turned his head to see what all the commotion was about. His hand was diving for his gun when the Kadaw's second blow slammed into his head and dropped him like a limp puppet over the steering wheel.
Are you all right?
Taneem asked Allison anxiously, her whole body trembling like a leaf as she crouched on the grass beside the car. Yes, I'm fine, Allison said, shaking a little herself. This was the second time she'd seen Taneem attack, and there was still something about it that brought out all her deepest, darkest fears. The price of having read too many books of dragon legends when she was young, she supposed. Meanwhile, she and Taneem had real problems to deal with. We need to get them out of here before some patrol trips over them, she said, looking around. Mershpaw had slipped off the back of the car where Taneem's slap had landed him and was now sprawled on the ground. Give me a hand. Together, she and Taneem managed to hoist the big Brumgun up into the back seat. Pushing Dumbarton out of the way, Allison got into the driver's seat and started the car. Choosing a pathway heading northwest, aiming them midway between the main gate and the slaves area where Frost had been sending her, she drove off.
Where are we going?
Taneem asked, crouching low on Mershpaw's body. I wish I knew, Allison said grimly. There have to be places on an estate this size where we can hide for a while. Unfortunately, we don't know where any of them are.
Can't we simply leave?
Allison shook her head. The gate is way too well defended, she said. The wall even worse.
Yet Jack and Dracos were able to escape,
Taneem reminded her. Allison hissed a curse at herself. What am I thinking? She growled, reaching over to Dumbarton's collar and pulling off his comm clip. Here, you drive.
What?
Taneem asked, sounding startled. Just take the wheel. I'll handle the pedals, Allison said, leaning out of the way. Come on, you can do it. A pair of Kadah paws reached over her shoulder and gingerly wrapped themselves around the wheel. Keeping half an eye on the road, Allison turned Dumbarton's comm clip to the SNA's frequency. Thanks, she said to Taneem, taking back the wheel. Cross your toes. Fastening the comm clip to her collar, she clicked it on. Jack?
This is Uncle Verge. The
computerized personality came back instantly.
Are you all right? Yeah.
Not really, no, Allison told him. We just had to clobber 2 of Frost's men and we're on the run.
You don't know the half of it, Sheen.
Uncle Verge said grimly.
I've been monitoring their transmissions for the past half hour. Frost is organizing a group to go back to Shemaline. They figured out that Jack is there. Yeah.
He's still there? Allison echoed, frowning. Then what in blazes are you doing here?
I'm here because once those 2 goofs picked you up, I knew they hadn't gotten Jack, and I knew where he had to be,
Uncle Verge said.
I figured he'd be safe there for a while, Shane.
Yes, but...
And he'd ordered me to watch out for you and Taneem,
Uncle Verge snapped.
All right, yeah?
Sure, Allison said hastily. Sure, calm down.
I am calm, yeah?
I can tell, Allison said. She and Taneem were still in trouble, but with the SNA here, at least she now had the beginnings of a plan. Maybe. Okay, first things first, she said. Do they know where Jack is?
Probably,
Uncle Verge said. How? There was just the briefest pause.
I don't know.
No more games, Allison said coldly. Jack's in danger. I'm in danger. And if we don't do something about it real quick, you're going to find yourself all alone in a very big universe. Understood?
Yes,
Uncle Verge said, his voice subdued.
Yeah, what do you want to know? Yeah.
Let's start with Jack, Allison said. Who is he? Uncle Verge sighed.
The son of the late Stuart and Ariel Palmer,
He said.
both of them judge paladins, see?
Allison felt her mouth drop open a fraction of an inch. She'd already pegged the SNA as some kind of diplomatic or governmental ship. She'd proved it, in fact, by activating the computer's built-in privacy lock on the trip back from Rose Scrovy. But she'd assumed Virgil Morgan had conned or stolen the ship from some minor official or else bought it on the black market from a corrupt diplomat. For it to have been stolen from a Judge Paladin, let alone two of them.
I know what you were thinking,
Uncle Verge cut into her thoughts.
But it wasn't like that, see?
Whatever it was like, it can wait, Allison said. Do they know where Jack is right now?
Because he's probably at the scene of his parents' murder.
Their murder? Allison cut him off. I thought Jack said they were killed in an accident.
Because he wasn't ready for the truth yet, see?
Uncle Verge said.
Besides, there was still the little matter of assembling evidence to identify their killers,
Allison felt cold all over. Was that the little problem on Semaline Nevelin had mentioned earlier? And if so, did he know who Jack really was?
Anyway, I think some of the residents in the area must have recognized him as the Palmer's son and taken him back there,
Uncle Verge went on. Why?
Probably to judge their disputes for them,
Uncle Verge said.
They're all alone in the middle of nowhere, see, and...
Okay, not important, Allison interrupted. What's important is that we get Jack and Dracos out of there, and fast. How soon can you get back to Semaline?
I can do it in 4 days if I really run the fuel tanks, Uncle Verge said. That'll get me there about the same time as Frost's ships. Maybe a couple of hours sooner, see?
Sooner would be nice, Allison said.
Tell me about it,
Uncle Verge said with a grunt.
Problem is, pushing it that hard will drain our credit balance. We might end up stranded there, see?
Don't worry about that, Allison assured him. There are a bunch of fuel credits in my cabin. You and Jack can use those when you come back to pick me up.
Oh, wait a second, Uncle Verge warned. If you're counting on Jack to get you out of there...
Don't worry, I'm not, Allison assured him. But I'll need you to send an interworld message for me before you take off.
Who to?
The nearest Malison Ring Class 1 base, Allison said. I think the one on Tristram 4 is the closest, but you can check. There was a brief silence.
The Malison Ring,
Uncle Verge said, his voice gone flat.
Frost's friends,
Not exactly, Allison said. You're going to send the message using the voice of General Aram Davi, the Malison Ring's commander-in-chief.
What?
Uncle Verge demanded.
Who do you think I am, girl?
I think you're a computer, Allison said, and the voice print and tonal patterns you need are already installed in one of the files Jack set up for me to use. There was another brief pause as Uncle Verge accessed the file.
You must be out of your apple-buttered mind,
he said, sounding as flabbergasted as Allison had ever heard him.
Where in space did you get all these,
My dad's a collector, okay? Allison said briefly. You never know when someone else's voice might come in handy. So can you do it or can't you?
I can do it,
Uncle Verge said, still sounding a little floored.
What's the message,
Allison grinned in the darkness. Frost was going to love this. Tell them that Colonel Frost is being held prisoner at the Chakuk family estate on Brumadum, she said. Order them to scramble a force to rescue him.
I was right the first time, Uncle Verge said. You are insane,
Not at all, Allison said. They won't question an order coming from General Davi, especially since you'll also be giving them one of his authorization codes.
Where am I? Oh,
Uncle Verge said.
I will be dipped in butter. You have his security codes too, yeah?
I had access to a Malison Ring computer system a while back, Allison said. I got in a little deeper than anyone thought.
And then what, yeah?
Uncle Verge asked.
All Frost has to do is tell them he wasn't kidnapped and they'll go home.
He can't, and that's the real beauty of this, Allison said, smiling again. They won't accept any response while he's still inside the house. He could be talking with a gun to his head.
Then he comes out and shows them he's all right, yeah?
He can't do that either, Allison said. He's been using Malison Ring troops and equipment for his own private scheme, remember? For all he knows, this kidnapping story could be nothing but a ruse to lure him out into the open so they can nab him.
I like it,
Uncle Verge said approvingly.
Anyone ever tell you you have the makings of a very devious person, yeah?
That's high praise coming from you, Allison said dryly. Send the message, do what you can to make sure they've bought it, then hightail it back to Cymbeline.
All right, Uncle Verge said. But look, even if they buy it, Tristan 4 is a good 3 or 4 days away from here. Are you going to be all right that long,
If I say no, what are you going to do about it? Allison countered. Right, that's what I thought. Don't worry, I think I know a place where we can hide for a while. You just concentrate on Jack and Draco's.
I'll get them out, Uncle Verge promised grimly. You watch yourself, Lash, yeah?
I will, Allison promised. Oh, one other thing. How did you even know I was here?
Through your comm clip, of course, Uncle Verge said. Your kidnappers practically gave me the Chakuk's address, yeah?
Allison thought back. But the clip was off.
Well, not exactly, see?
Uncle Verge said, sounding a little embarrassed.
Jack rigged that clip to be permanently on. Yeah, as a precaution, see?
Allison felt her lip twist. So much for Taneem's question about whether Jack trusted her. Well, just as well that he hadn't. Remind me to be mad about that later, she told Uncle Verge. In the meantime, go get him out of there. She clicked off the comm clip and slipped it into her pocket.
Do you really know a place where we can hide?
Taneem asked. Allison shrugged. Let's find out. The landscape around them changed from grassy lawn to sculpted trees, and the path split 3 times before they reached Allison's objective, the wall.
I don't know,
Taneem said as they sat in the car looking up at the wall's wave-shaped overhang.
This seems very uncertain.
In theory, it should work just fine, Allison said, studying the white ceramic gleaming in the starlight. The shadowed underside of the wave was much harder to see, but she was almost positive that the inward curling edge of the wave curved upward a little right at the end. The big question was whether it curved up enough to form a trough where she and Taneem could lie hidden from view. The even bigger question was whether they could get up there and find out. The entire wall is about 30 feet tall, which puts that wave trough between 20 and 25, Allison went on. First thing to do is see if you can jump that high.
I'll try.
Crouching down, Taneem gathered herself and leapt. Allison held her breath. The Kadah soared upward, and with a faint scrabbling of claws against ceramic, she caught the edge of the wave. For a second she hung there, then stirred and pulled herself up and disappeared into the trough. Allison looked around. There were no air cars or other ground vehicles visible. Apparently, her escape was still undiscovered. Which wasn't surprising, actually. Frost was busy organizing the Cymbeline attack force, and Allison doubted that anyone else in the house knew about his order to kill her. Until the colonel started wondering why Dumbarton and Mershpaw hadn't shown up to give him the good news about her death, she was unlikely to be missed. There was a flicker of motion, and she looked over as Taneem dropped again to the ground.
I think there is enough room for us,
she reported.
though it is filthy with feathers and bird droppings.
That's okay, Allison assured her. Now the big question, can you carry me that high?
No,
Taneem said, ducking her head apologetically.
I could lift you perhaps half that distance, but not the entire way.
Allison chewed at her lip. Desperate needs, the old saying whispered through her mind, called for desperate measures. Halfway it is, she said. Help me get Dumbarton and Mershba out of the car. It took some creative maneuvering, plus a lot of grunting, but within a few minutes, Allison and Tanim had the two mercenaries out and settled under one of the nearby shrubs. Here's the plan, Allison said, doing a quick search of the unconscious bodies. Neither was carrying a gun, but Mershba had a slapstick belted at his side. Pulling it from its holster, she held it up. We're going to back the car up a ways and get in. I'm going to wedge the accelerator with this, and we'll charge full bore toward the wall.
Toward the wall?
Tanim asked, her neck arching. Straight toward it, Allison confirmed. With the wall curved that way, we should run up along it like a great galaxy romp roller coaster heading up a crazy loop. You'll be holding on to me, and when the car's at its highest point, you'll jump toward the lip. If we do it right, we should land nice and neat inside the trough. Tanim's tail was lashing agitatedly in the air.
I can't do that,
she said, her voice trembling.
No, I can't.
We have to try, Allison said firmly. We don't know the grounds. The Brumgas do. They'll know about any other place we might find a hide. This is the only spot they might not think of.
That we could be killed.
Tanim looked up at the frozen white wave above them.
Dracos could do it. He has the strength and skill, but I'm not like him. I can't.
Tanim? Reaching over, Allison put her hand on the side of the Kadaw's snout and pulled her head gently around to face her. Earlier today, I didn't think I could figure out the safe, she said. But you had faith in me, and I did it. Well, I have faith in you. You can do this. I know you can. Tanim's glowing silver eyes stared unblinkingly into hers. Allison held her gaze, mentally crossing her fingers. Then the Kadaw gave a little sigh.
What was it Uncle Verge said back there?
You're out of your apple-buttered mind?
That was it.
Tanim sighed again.
Very well. Live or die, we will try it.